Hi, my name is Debbie DeRosa. I'm the marketing and social media manager for America World. And I'm just so excited for all the interest we had for this webinar. Just have had a lot of people sign up and some people who couldn't make it. So we're going to also we're doing a recording and the recording will be a little bit different than this live example because on the live, we're going to be able to actually show you the children's faces. On the recording, we're going to cover it. But otherwise, at least people can kind of get the feel and see the information. But thank y'all for coming. And we were just talking, we started our Columbia program on November 20th of last year, and we've had a lot of excitement around the program. So we're wanted to just share with you in person because you can meet the two ladies that are behind all this excitement. Kristen Mallory is our program director here in the United States. And Deanna Dwinnis is, did I do it right?
Yes.
She is our caseworker that works there with the children. So she has all the passion and she's going to share with you actual children that she knows. So I'm going to go ahead and let them get started.
Thank you, Debbie. We're so excited for you guys to join us today. We're so excited for the interest in our Columbia adoption program. And as Debbie said, I'm Kristen Mallory. I oversee the program here at America World Adoption. And we're so excited to have our colleague Diana here with us today because she is our on-the-ground representative in Bogota. She works directly with the adoption authorities there. She is, our liaison and works directly with our families as well when they prepare to travel and as they get to country to bring their children home. So it's an amazing opportunity for us to chat with her today. I did just want to reiterate during this webinar, we are going to be showing photos and sharing information about a specific children who are currently eligible to be adopted. We do need to be respectful of privacy. It's prohibited to take any photos or screenshots of any of these children's information while we're meeting today. We do want to share that with you all live as an example, but we do have some restrictions on the type of information that we can show. So we ask you to respect that, respect the privacy of the children here. So let's dig in a little bit. I'm going to move through just some general information about our program. As Debbie mentioned, we officially launched our own direct placement program in Colombia in November 2023, which is fairly recently, as you'll see in the grand scheme of things. Adoptions have been going on in Colombia for many years, and we have been working with other agencies and families certainly throughout that time, but we're really excited to have our own direct program there now. So this is just a detailed timeline. I'm not going to go into a lot of the detail here, but I think it's interesting to note that Colombia has a long history of adoption, both the domestic and international, as you can see detailed here, starting as early as the 1940s. Children were placed with international families. However, it really wasn't until the early 90s and the adoption of the Hague Convention and the Hague Treaty on the Rights of the Child that intercountry adoptions began to occur more regularly in the country. So we work with ICBF. This is an acronym for the Child Welfare Authority in Colombia, who oversees all adoption and all child welfare related activities. Prospective adoptive parents can apply directly to ICBF, or they might end up working directly with one of 6 independent adoption institutes, which are called YAPAs. And those are authorized by ICBF, but operate a little differently. So there's just some nuances in the type of care setting and the type of process that you might incur when you adopt from Colombia, but it's all under the umbrella of ICBF. I wanted to spend a minute just talking about the children who are in need of families from this country. I think you'll see here that a lot of the reasons that lead children to be in the care of the child welfare authorities in Colombia are really not that dissimilar from factors we see here in the US. So when we think about caregiver conditions, we're talking about maybe the inability of parents to successfully take care of children due to lack of resources or economic reasons. This might especially be a factor if there's multiple children in a family or large sibling groups or a child who has special needs that may be expensive to care for or treat. But children may also be removed from family care if there's negligence or abuse in the biological family of origin, or parents who struggle with mental health issues or substance abuse issues, have insecurity in their housing. Things like that may lead to child welfare authorities becoming involved. So it's important to know that children who are eligible to be matched with families internationally are declared legally eligible in one of the following ways. So this, again, similar to mirrors other child welfare systems in that it may be birth parents making a deliberate adoption plan, voluntarily relinquishing their rights to the child. It may be an involuntary relinquishment, where children are removed from the care of family, or there may be cases of abandonment as well. We wanted to just highlight on this slide what the eligibility criteria are for those who wish to adopt from Colombia. So every country can establish any type of eligibility criteria for applicants, and we respect that criteria. We need to adhere to that criteria. So it's important that we, know what that exists and know what those factors are when we're welcoming families into the program so that they'll be successful. I'm not going to go this line by, through this line by line, but you'll see that there are some specifics around age, around marital status, and also just physical, emotional, financial factors that we could talk about. If you do decide to talk with us more about this program, our intake department, one of the main aspects of that process would be to go through the eligibility criteria to ensure that you could be successful in the program before moving ahead. So do take a moment to note what that is here. Before I jump into the process and timeline a little bit, I just wanted to make sure that I indicated to everybody in terms of eligibility and success in adopting. The Colombian adoption law establishes, as I said, the eligibility criteria, but there's also aspects of the process that need to be completed. So you'll see some of that articulated here. The first is called a home study, which is a assessment that's conducted by a licensed social worker. That's a requirement. An approved home study needs to be obtained in order to successfully adopt. In addition, Colombia requires a psychological evaluation by a licensed psychologist. So that would be the outcome, a positive outcome there would be also an aspect of the application. And you'd be expected to compile a set of documents that would evidence your financial status, your medical status, other aspects of your family, and that's called the document dossier. So you'd be working on all of these pieces with America World and or a local home study provider if you're not in one of our licensed states. So our agency is licensed in 20 states throughout the country, but if you happen to reside in a state where we don't have an office, we would just partner with a local home study provider there to work with you. There's other entities involved in the process, including U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. So you need to get approval from the USCIS in order to bring a child into the country on an adoption visa. This is another aspect of the process. And once those pieces are in place, then you're going to be waiting for a match with a specific child. So the wait time for a match is really variable. It could be rather quickly if it's a child who's already waiting and eligible to be matched with a family, or it could be lengthier if perhaps that child is younger, doesn't have identified issues, or medical or special needs, and there's more families maybe who have applications in queue with those types of characteristics. So it's really variable depending on what your family is open to and what children, of course, are available to be matched. We call the match a referral in intercountry adoption. So when you see that language, it's just indicating an official match between an applicant and a child. And then there's some time where there's some additional steps that are taken with U.S. immigration and legally between the time that a family is matched and the time that they're traveling to bring their children home. So the overall from beginning application to bringing a child home, the timeline again really varies. I think it could be anywhere from 10 months on the very earliest to up to 2.5 years, even approaching 3 years, totally dependent on all of these different steps throughout the process. And again, the characteristics of the child that you're hoping to be matched with. I think that's mostly all I wanted to say here. If you have more questions about the, specific details of the process, I'm happy to talk with anybody about that, but wanted to just give some general overview here. And I think with that, I'm going to hand it over to Deanna to kind of talk more about some of the kids that we're advocating for at this time.
Hello, my name is Diana. I'm going to be with you when you're traveling to Colombia. I want to talk with you about the special needs because sometimes when we talk about the special needs, some families feel scary and have a lot of thoughts about their special needs. So in Colombia, we have 5 different groups when we talk about the special needs. First one, it's to adopt a child who is 10 years and older. There is a siblings group, 2 kids. The older one should be 10 years or older, and the younger one could be younger. Those 2 kids can be healthy, or one of them or both of them can have special needs. In Colombia, we have a lot of siblings group between 3, 4, 5, and 6 kids that should be together. So there is a siblings group, 3 or more kids together without any medical needs should be a special need. Also, to have any kind of disability or to need any kind of medical treatment in Colombia should be a special need. So you are going to see kids younger, between 0 to 10 years old, who has any kind of disability, and they are going to be in the special needs, or any child who needs a medical treatment in the future that we are not going to have the medical support in Colombia. So I'm going to give it to you some examples about my kids in Colombia that I'm pretty sure you are going to love. We are going to talk about medical needs. So we have a lot of kids in Colombia between 0 to 10 years old who has any kind of they need a medical treatment, or they need any kind of support from the doctors, that we don't have those resources in Colombia. Those 3 cases are the cases that I know. There are 3 kids, amazing, all of them are amazing, who has medical needs and who needs a family open for this and family prepared for this. So sometimes do not be scary when we talk about the medical needs, because sometimes they're looking good, but they need time, they need doctors, they need therapies, they need surgeries, they need any kind of support that in Colombia we don't have it. So check one by one about the medical needs, and there is an amazing. The next special needs are the siblings group. So we have an amazing kids, 3 or more kids who are amazing, and they just need one opportunity to be part of a family. I have personally haven't met her, those siblings that you are see. They are siblings who has a perfect personality, and they are just waiting to have one to be part of a family. They are lovely. They need support. Yes, they have trauma. They need some special attention by professionals, but I'm pretty sure if they arrive in your family, they are going to change your life in a good way. They are happy. You are going to receive a lot of love when you see them, and they are just waiting to have one opportunity to be part of your family. So when we talk about siblings group, I know it's not easy to receive 3, 4, 5 kids at the same time from another country. Most of them are older. Most of them already have trauma. They speak another language, but I can tell you, God give us the good language to have communication, and they are learning so fast. The other type of special needs, we're talking about older kids. So should be kids between 10 years to 16 years. Most of them have any kind of disability, but let me tell you, or any kind of delay, but let me tell you, sometimes, and most of the times, it is not because they do have it, something, it's because their condition in Colombia, they don't have the resources to learn. They don't have the resources to present a test in a good way. So sometimes the reports mention something about the kids, but they are still waiting. They are praying for a family. They are thinking about to have a family. And I'm pretty sure they will be someone open to adopt an older child. I had the opportunity to be part of some adoption for older kids, and I had the opportunity to see how amazing they are in the States and how they receive love and they can give love in a few months, and after the years they can be part of a family. There is the other group who is the siblings, the set of 2 siblings, one of them older than 10 years old and the other one younger than 10 years old. Those kids are amazing because they want to be together. They have that bonding and they want to stay together. Sometimes in Colombia, when the kids are on the waiting list for a long time, there is a psychological team and a social team who start thinking about to separate them, because we prefer to have them in 2 different families in 2 different countries than to have them growing up in Colombia without a family. So thank you all of you to be part of this webinar. I think thank you for thinking about my kids. I can tell you all of them are open to give love, to give the opportunity to receive all the love that you can give it to them. So if you're open to thinking about adoption, Colombia is a good country. Colombia is a country that you can be sure that the legal process is doing well. I will be with you here step by step. I will know the kids. I will ask all the questions that you have here. And I'm pretty sure you're going to have a good adoption process. And all of them are so happy. So I'm so happy that you're here.
And thank you, Deanna. And I wanted to just again mention, the children that are profiled here, these are children who are actively waiting. So when we talk about a waiting child, this is a child who is legally available to be matched for adoption. They are ready to be matched with an adoptive family. And so when we think about timelines, we're eliminating that wait for a referral, because once a family has an approved, they will send their intent to move forward with the case. Once that's approved, they're really moving actively toward that particular situation. So not only is there a tremendous need of children who are waiting, but also it creates efficiencies in the process as well. I neglected to talk a little bit about the care that these children are in. So you heard me mention the ICBF oversees all of child welfare. There's also these YAPAs who are independent institutions. So children can be living in some kind of institutional care setting. They may also be living with a foster family. During that time, as Deanna said, there are some regular services that are provided to children depending on their needs. So we know that children will be at least have some basic medical and psychological services and supports, and depending on the extent of their special needs, there may be ongoing therapies. So it's, not as though children aren't receiving services in Colombia, but when you think about a congregate care setting or children who are not in a family setting, the resources are just stretched very thin. And so it may not be the frequency of treatment that we would see in a different kind of family setting. So I just wanted to be clear that there is a team of services that are provided to all of these kids based on their special needs and based on their situation. And so that's something to keep in mind. As Deanna mentioned, sibling groups, it is almost always in the best interest of the children to keep sibling groups together. And that makes, sometimes larger sibling groups, as Deanna said, sometimes sibling groups of 3, 4, 5, even 6 children. It's very hard to find families, for a group of that size, because it's, just imagine adding that many individuals to your family, though it is possible. And we see the success of that, but it's something that makes these children, that is their special need, that is the reason that there's difficulty in finding a placement for some of these kids. And so the Waiting Child program is really an amazing opportunity for families, because it does allow you to get some information about a child without there being the formal match that's made. It gives you an opportunity to learn a little bit about their profile, the reasons that they came into care, their current conditions. And you can do that, in conjunction with me and Deanna, and we can kind of talk about particular children before you're waiting for an official match from the adoption authorities. And we have several profiles that are posted on our password protected site. They're very basic information. Again, we really want to protect the confidentiality of all these children and their privacy, but we also want to advocate, because we know these kids have been waiting for families. They're ready to join families. And so we want to get the word out. If you have questions about any of these children, certainly you can reach out to America World to talk about it more. We do have a preference that families have a completed home study or are in a process of obtaining a home study before we really talk more seriously about any particular children. The reason is twofold. One is the home study process is a big component of that process is an educational process. So if we know that you're going to be adopting a child with medical needs, or an older child, or a sibling group, we want to tailor your training to kind of prepare you for what that looks like in reality when those children join your family. We want that to be complementary if you're talking about a particular child or children. So there's that piece of it. The other piece is that, as we've said, these children are waiting. And so we don't want to prolong that wait by holding them up, so to speak, to wait for a family to complete the paperwork. It's really optimal if an applicant is near the end of their home study or has that immigration approval, so that when they have expressed an interest in a waiting child, things can move quickly or as quickly as we can expect at that point. So this is in no way to discourage anybody on this call from, pursuing particular waiting children or looking at those profiles or talking to us about it, but just know that we do generally want to see some involvement with a home study agency before we can really support the application to move forward, because we know that there may be, we're not the only agency who's advocating for many of these children, and there may be avenues with other agencies that could be successful. And ultimately, we do want to just see these kids getting placed in homes. So just something to keep in mind about the Waiting Child program. But I think it's a really fantastic component of the Colombia adoption program. So there's two sort of tracks that you can pursue. There's kind of the more traditional track where you submit your paperwork dossier to the adoption authorities and you wait for a child to be presented or matched with you based on the criteria that you've indicated in your home study and your application. And that's one route. And that's a perfectly fine way to go. There's also the Waiting Child program, which operates a little differently. So you start to have access to some of the information about children maybe even before your paperwork dossier is completed. And it's just a really tremendous opportunity to get connected with some of these amazing kids that you're seeing here. So I don't know if folks have questions about that. Sorry, Debbie, about that, but you could definitely drop some, questions in the chat too, if you want to address.
I'd like to say we update the waiting child profiles on our website regularly. Deanna, she goes to the different homes and the different centers, and she sends me photos and she sends me information. So you're going to get like actual information about children from someone who's met them. So if you go to our website under adopt, there's the waiting child photo listings. You just fill out a really simple like a form so that we can have an idea of who's accessing these because of the confidentiality for the children. And then you'll get a password, and then you'll get to access them and look through them. And like I said, we regularly update them, so you can go through and just see what children are available. But there are way more children, like thousands more children that are available than we can possibly put up on the site. So you wouldn't want to say, oh, I don't see like a child that I would match with and think, I don't think this is for me. If you feel like in other ways this program might be for you, then you should go forward and express what special needs or whatever that would work for you, because there could be a child that you could get matched with that we aren't able to post because we can't get them all up. So I just want to make sure you knew about that.
I think that's a really good point, Debbie, because again, Deanna does have she's frequently visiting the YAPAs. She does have the ability to talk with the directors more directly herself. And we have seen over time families, maybe because of experience parenting a child with a certain condition or because of professional training or background, they may be open specifically to one or more type of medical conditions. And we can kind of look at available profiles with that in mind. And it can be really just a tremendous connection if you, for example, have a specialty in working with children with a certain disability, and we can match that family with a child with that condition. It's a huge benefit for that child. And so, as Debbie said, there's, unfortunately, many more profiles than we have on our website. So I would encourage you, if there's a calling for you, if you have, personal experience or some kind of connection with certain issues, so definitely let us know, and we can kind of talk through what that might look like as a part of your process.
So I think we're probably wrapping up with our time. Do you want to show them, tell them what they can do for next steps, and then I can share the video with them?
Yeah, absolutely. So you may, as I said, perhaps some folks on this call are already involved in a process. Maybe this is the first time you're sort of like getting some more information about Colombian adoption or adoption in general. You can go to our website to learn more about this specific program or our other programs. We do operate in other countries as well. We're just highlighting Colombia today. You can find information about that process, more specifics about the eligibility, the timelines, the fee structures for our different programs. And you can also submit a pre-application online. So what this is like a low commitment. You can sort of talk with someone from our intake team, give us some information about yourself. We can know, based on some demographic factors or just what your the child that you're hoping to be matched with. We can talk a little bit about, the success of your adoption with particular countries or different avenues that you could pursue. You can also set up a call with someone on our intake staff if you wanted to do that, to just talk through this in person. And then you can reach out to the Colombia team as well. You can find information on how to contact us on the website if you have specific questions. And then there is a dedicated page, as Debbie said, for waiting child profiles. We do ask individuals to register with us. Again, we want to know who's sort of, looking at this information. We need to take care of these children's information, but it's a great way to kind of look and get some specific information about children who are currently available to be matched with families. And we'd love to hear more from you if you see something there that piques your interest, or you want to talk about, or you have questions about. We'd love to hear from you.
And we have a video that we realized we tested it out and it kind of lags when we try to play it over the webinar. So I'm going to add a link into the chat, but just want to give a plug for our mission trips too, because if you would like to go on a mission trip with us to Colombia, you actually get to meet these children and you get to hang out with Deanna. I mean, I can't imagine anything more fun. And so one of our mission team members actually made this video for us. So we just wanted to share it with you. Please also don't share this video like out in public, because it does, even though the children are wearing masks, it shows the children's faces. So we don't really have the ability to put this out on social media the way it is, but we thought since this is a live webinar, we could offer it to you. So I'm putting that in the chat now. Let me know if you have any trouble watching it, and that's up to you to watch it or not. But we just appreciate you coming, and we want to be cognizant of your time because we promised 30 minutes. I know everyone's busy, but we appreciate you guys coming today. Kristen or Deanna, do you have any last minute?
No, I don't think so. I just want to thank everybody for joining us. And I do really want to welcome questions. And it's such a great opportunity to talk face to face with Deanna. So it's so great that she's here. And just thank everybody for their time today. I appreciate it.
No, I just want to thank all of you for your time and for thinking about Colombia and thinking about my kids for adoption. So I'm so glad that you take your time to hear us.